In this video, I want to go over the different types of statuses that a product can have, or the review states. So here you see I've got a bunch of different products here. These are all listed as live public, but if I look over here on the left-hand side, we've got quite a few different review states. Let's jump into an individual product. So if I take a look at this shirt, up here in the top right, I've got this change state button. And here I can change it to live internal or draft. So in the draft state, you'll see this now changes to draft. And if I come over here to share asset, all of this is grayed out. Or if I come to download, this is all grayed out except for the original file, which you will always be able to download. So in draft mode, you can still add annotations. So you can leave feedback on the models if you want to leave feedback. You can still add comments. You can check and inspect it to make sure visually it looks the way that you want it to look. So all the things you would normally want to do with verifying that an asset meets your specifications before you publish it. So that's why you'd keep it in the draft state, is because you don't actually need to share it anywhere. Everyone who has a platform login on your team, any users, will be able to access this. It just means that it cannot be shared externally. So that's basically the gist of draft state, is that the file cannot be shared externally. If I change the state to live internal, what you'll see is that these are now live, but if I take this public link and I paste it, I'm going to get, oops, this asset has not been published. What live internal means is that it's API accessible, so everyone on your team can access it. You can access it via the admin API, meaning that it needs to be authenticated, and you can download all the files, but the links won't work. So that's essentially the gist of live internal. And the reason you might want to use this is maybe you want to include it in one of our showrooms, or maybe you want to access the file for whatever purposes you have, but you don't want someone to accidentally share a link that could be public. So it's something that probably hasn't been released yet. Then you would move it to the live internal status. And then finally, we have the live public status. So if I move this to live public and I jump back over to that tab and I refresh it, we'll now see that this asset's going to load for me. So that's really the main difference, is that in live public, the asset is now available outside of VNTANA. So those are the two differences between that. We also have other review states. So if I change this back to draft, I have the ability to send for review. It's actually not in the state change, but over here on these three. And if I send it for review, I can select someone who has appropriate permissions, either at an organization level or at a workspace level, and they can approve this asset. And so if I do that, we'll see that it's in the review status. And then they might be able to approve it. I'm logged in as an admin, so I can approve it right now. And I can approve it and leave it in draft mode, meaning now I know that someone has actually seen this and signed off on it, but we're still not ready to publish it live. Or I can reject it, and then the user will get a notification that it has been rejected. And you can leave feedback in our annotations or leave some comments right here. So that's the main difference between states. If you are a pay-as-you-go user, you don't pay for any states except for live internal and live public. And that cost is $5 per product per month. It's subject to change. There's discounts for annual pricing, volume pricing, etc. If you are an enterprise user who's watching this video, then it doesn't matter for you. Everything is based on user pricing.